Hey art lovers, hello newbies. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tracy and I thank you so much for joining me. Alright, today we will be talking about inks and shades and tints and values. But you know what, if you haven't subscribed, hit that like button, subscribe, and catch me on the rest of the demonstration or for another video. Alright, ciao, take care, and have a God bless day.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining me on another gouache. And don't forget to pick up a book, the Let's Gouache Reference Guidebook. Alright, so today we are going to just be doing a quick demonstration. I mean, it's not quick, it was over an hour worth of painting, but it's sped up just so it's not too long and boring and you get frustrated because it's taking forever to end. But it's gonna be talking. I'm gonna do just a. This is an experiment of a portrait that I'm doing, and I just used whatever was on my tray, my palette tray. So I was doing an art before, and it had red in it, and I'm like, I wonder if I can create my red ochre kind of tint or shade, and work from there. So this is me using whatever was on my tray to create this portrait with some additional colors. So sometimes it's great for you to push yourself and just see if you were given a limited, say you were given a project to work with this limited amount of paint. What would you do? What would you create? What kind of shade can you make from it? So it's all about creating art from nothing. And again, I apologize for the glitching, the blinking of the light. I still am working on it, but it's not too bad this time. All right, so let's jump right into it. I'm adding some blue to the hat, the beret, and I'm creating you will see further on the type of texture of the portrait in the face. I've added a whole lot of color blending and mixing. You'd be like, what is that? But we're talking about shades and tones and tints. So I'm just adding all these values so you can actually see that mixing colors can actually bring something beautiful. Don't be afraid to mix. It might look weird like right now, but sure, relax, give it a chance and work with it. You have to learn to experiment with things in order to grow and develop. So remember, when we're talking about tone, we're talking about the visual effects of any piece that you're creating, lightened and darkened and tinting and white and shades and so forth. So that's the tone. So the tone of the piece here that I'm giving it kind of a dark, rough kind of an appearance. This person is not someone to play with because of the tones that I'm adding into the skin. It's not soft and delicate. It's these hues are very vibrant. So that's the tone of the picture. Remember, when we're talking about hue as well, we're talking about the original base color. So if I'm using blue, blue is that one base color that I have there, and all I did was lighten it to get a different shade by adding neutral medium like water, even though my water is kind of a red right now. But the main thing is to add a neutral medium like water to extend the color to get different shades. So it's not adding another color, it's just adding neutral color to that one original shade, one original color. That's called a hue. It's a pure color. And the tint would be lightening or desaturating, which is what I did by lightening the color, the blue color there, by adding more water to it. If you want to lighten another color, or say lighten the blue and you're not doing a monochrome, you can just go ahead and add white to it or some neutral color like cream or something soft to just extend the color in a lighter version. All right, so I'm adding a whole lot of vibrancy to this picture. It's more kind of an abstract look to me, but I'm not afraid to go ahead and add some shades into it. See some darker areas where you see a little bit more purple. I'm adding it over to one side of the eye where I'm thinking the light's not reflecting, and the other side is a slightly bit lighter where she's looking from the corner of her eye. That means I'm trying to reflect the light to that side. So just remember these in mind when you're talking about light source, shade, and dark. Kind of watch your pictures to see what kind of story you're trying to tell. All right, so I'm talking about the shading, which is darkening it and lightening it, and as well as I'm talking about values, which is about reflecting the light. So you want to keep those thought in mind when you're creating something. Where's the light source coming from? What is she doing? What is the person doing? How do I want the viewers to reflect the or tell the story? All right, so values or a value scale is like it shows the range of light and darkness using tints and shadows to measure the lightness and the density of the colors shown on the portrait right there. So the rule of the thought is in the art world is when you're referring to value is that if there's a darkness, I mean a shade intensifying area or darker shade area, then there should be a light source. As I mentioned before, one side of the face is darker and the other side is slightly bit lighter. So you're talking about balancing out the picture with light and darkness. All right, and neutral colors are considered like just regular like undertones that you've seen me add. There's purple, but I did add a little bit of blue. I add some red to the initial beginning, some red ochre kind of a tinted shade. So those are undertones, but real undertones are like beige and ivory, taupe, tan, a little bit of black, gray, shades of white or brown. Those are neutral undertone or colors that you can mix or add into hues to give different shades or lighten or deepen. Alrighty. There's another point I want to bring out to always remember that you want to have a focal point. So when you're creating an art, at the end of the story, the end of the picture, the art that you're creating, you want the viewer's eyes to focus somewhere. And for this, I just have a one piece here, and you have the fish going on in the hat, you have the intensifying eyes, you have the color of the abstract thing on her nose, the nose ring, and you also have a large mouth. Where do you want the viewer to focus? I have several points here, but at the end of the picture, you end up focusing closer to between the eyes and the nose. I mean, the fish is working fine, but because of the intensity of the picture, you end up focusing between the eyes and the nose. That's where, after looking at all of it, your eyes tend to want to draw you to the eyes of the picture because it seems as if she's telling a story or something with her eyes. What's her eyes saying? So that's my focal point in the end. So when you're creating a picture, you want to have a focal point that draws the viewer's eyes to rest or stay or to reflect instead of wandering all over the page. You're going to want the viewer to think about what you're creating and have an idea, or it's called a reflection period. All right, so remember highlights though features the area that are created with light tints and to lighten up the image. So that's one side of her face, and the highlights would be a little bit in her hat where the fish is and so forth. All right, so we're talking about now value reference terms can be like values, like the area for an art image or a picture that is associated with light and darkness and reflection of a color. We mentioned that before. Like a light source now can be an original area that the light starts shining from on an object or an image. You want to keep that in mind. Value scale would be a reference guide of a tint and shaded bar, like tinted areas and shaded areas, like darker areas, lighter areas. When you're creating value art pieces, like this has lots of values in it. You have lighter shades and you have deeper shades. And you want to talk about tint values like light or desaturated hues, meaning using the blue. See, the blue has the tinted and the deepened area. That's called tint value already. All right, so I do just want to mention one area, like whenever you're composing a picture, you have what they call in the art. If you go to art school, I have not, but I've studied a little bit because I want to help myself and you as well. So it's called the visual element of an art composition, or the building blocks of any art design and composition. All right, so you could say the foundation. When I'm doing this picture, there's few things that I have in place in order to have a well-rounded art piece here. So the foundation of art and design are associated with elements and values that help to bring life to any art creation. So the core values, the core visual elements of art are definitely the line work. You see me having line work there just for a guide, the shape and structure of the picture, as well as the tone and visual effects that we mentioned about. That's what I'm bringing, so you can read a story with some feeling. Then I added some color values, light and dark, shades and tints. And then the pattern of a creativity, or, the art piece, what the pattern of it, like, what elements I've brought to the picture. Textures and the materials that I'm using here. I'm using the Arches cotton paper. I'm using the colors, waters, paintbrush, just whatever caused me to create that. Materials I use to create this picture. And definitely forms, like it's a 2D that I'm doing because I'm doing paper and ink. Alrighty, so think about these things when you're creating your artwork, because these are all visual elements that make up your composition. Alright, so I hope that I've done justice to talk a little bit about shades and just value composition of an art piece, and that you're able to pick up some tips and just add them to your piece, your masterpiece, and definitely, get a better result. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. Please watch the entire video. It's almost done. And give me a thumbs up, a like, subscribe definitely if you're interested. And I'll be creating a little bit more of these portrait or character design, as I probably want to say. But thank you so much, and remember, I'll see you in the next video. God bless and have a good day.